Hello folks, I'm going to show you how to play the Matoka. Now as we know, customs are coming, however I'm going to still cover variation 3 and variation 1 because there are moves in there that are going to be used in customs anyways. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start covering how to play him generally in all his variations, how to use his normal properly, his normals. And then we'll go into the variations. In terms of variation 1 and variation 3, I think it's obvious that variation 3 is the best variation in the game. It surpasses variation 1 because variation 1 has a launcher but it whiffs in the corner, and I'll show you that later. And variation 1's buff is too slow on startup. You can get punished even though you're hit confirming into it, even though you're setting it up after you've launched. So I'll show you that as well. Alright, this is how I play Nightwolf. Nightwolf is a rushdown character. What you want to do is poke and frame trap, or jail. And why would you do that? First of all, this poke is great. It has decent range. It's fast, 8 frames. It low profiles a little bit. Look at his body. So it's a good poke to use. But not only that, the hit advantage of this poke is 13, which is great. It allows you to frame trap, to jail. Compared to other kinds of pokes, often, especially with older characters. I don't know why it's like that, but it seems like newer characters, the DLCs, their pokes, the hit advantage of their pokes is superior. It jails easier than with the regular characters, like the one that came with the game when you bought them, the original characters. Look, hit advantage 13 compared to 10. You can jail with that, you can. It's just very difficult, especially online. So use down 3, 13 hit advantage, and now I'm going to show you also the difference between this and this. Look at the character, the other character, the opponent. Look at what happens when you hit them in touch. You hit them with down 1, and that's the animation where he gets like, he kind of bends forward. You see what I'm saying? Compared to this, where he like stands up completely. There's a difference between this and this. This is much easier to see and react to than this. Not only is there more hit advantage, so this guy is stuck in hit stun and for longer, but he gets up. If your opponent would have blocked, he wouldn't be getting up like this. So that's when you know, you get your signal that it's time to hit confirm. So this is how you do it. With Nightwolf, you jail, and you start your combo. Now the opponent might block, and when the opponent starts to block, after down 1, that is when you go ahead and grab. What I advise you to do is after you poke, look at your opponent carefully. If your opponent is blocking high, alright. If your opponent, after he gets poked, blocks low, here's what you can do. You can go ahead and start your overhead. And by the way, the overhead, when you want to use that, there's a certain technique you want to use because it's a dial-in string. The first 2, so okay, if you do forward 2, that's just 1 hit. Forward 2, 1, 2 hits. But if you really want to complete it, you have to do forward 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, forward 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. This is unsafe. That's a problem. It's unsafe and it's a dial-in string. So if you've committed, it's going to come out and you're going to get punished if he blocks. What you can do is you start the inputs with 2, 1, forward 2, 1. Just that, and you look. And you react. You do it, you look, you react. Okay, he doesn't block. Now it's time to complete it. If you go ahead, oh, you see that he blocks. Okay, you react, you see that he blocks. You end it with 4. Look at the frame. Block advantage, -6. Right? He blocks. You completed it with 4. He doesn't block. You hit confirm it. And the reason you do it that way is because when you hit confirm it, you do 2, 1, 2, 1. 2, 1, 2, 1, and then you special cancel in the middle. 2, 1, 2, 1. So you see how there are 4 hits? 2, 1, 2, 1. After the third, when you've inputted everything, is when you special cancel. Fuck. So that does more damage than if I just do 4, 2, 1 like this and hit confirm. 2, 7, 8 compared to when I did the whole thing. 2, 9, 5. So that's kind of a significant difference for just 1 extra hit hitting. Also, when you do 2, 1, 2, 1, make sure that your tech is you start with 2, 1 like that, and then you look at your opponent to see if they're blocking or if they're not blocking, so that you can hit confirm or end appropriately. For example, say you do 2, 1, you notice that they block. Don't end like this. This is -9. What you do is you end with 4, -6, that's safe. -9 is punishable. You might get away with it because there's a little bit of distance, but you might not. So I recommend you end it with 4 on block. Definitely don't do 2, 1, 2, 1, the complete string on block, because that's minus 14, you're definitely going to get punished. So you have to look carefully, and let's say you react, oh, they're not blocking, then you can complete it. But don't just complete it, right? After the third hit, you hit special cancel and you launch. Nightwolf is not a footsie type of character. He's not someone that can, you know, poke, backdash, and then whiff punish, do any sort of those moves, because he doesn't have a lot of pushback on his normals. But what he is pretty good at is preventing people from whiff punishing him, because look at this distance that this covers. This is safe. You don't want to complete it. Minus 13, it might be a false blockable gap. No, but minus 13. So you don't want to complete this, which is why you never see Nightwolves completed. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense on hit, doesn't make sense on block. Doesn't make sense on hit because you can just special cancel and launch. What I was talking about is people who are trying to whiff punish you, right? Let's say you have noobs about that. Pokes and then backdashes and try to whiff punish you, or a Cetrion, whatever. You go forward like this with 2-1. So use 2-1 to cover the distance, and when you're in, then you go ahead for your pokes, your gels. It's also good to sometimes just go ahead and start with the overhead. It's slow, 24 frames, but there's a good amount of distance, not bad. And it's also an overhead, which online is hard to react to, especially because they're going to be conditioned to block low because you keep poking them. You force them to keep blocking low, and eventually you throw this out there from just as a starter. It will catch them. This string here, back 3-4, down 4, I don't think is useful. It catches some people sometimes. There's not a lot of range here. So what I would do is if you use it, it's fine. Just complete it. It's very hard to hit confirm because the low is in the middle. So sometimes people are going to block high, not get touched by the first one, which is a mid, but get touched by the second one. You can't react to one hit hitting. Just a quick side note, when you play against the Matoka version 1 or 2, and they have this thing here, the green one, it's a high, right? The second one is a mid, so just be aware of that. You have to block the second one. They all look like highs, but it's a mid. And in terms of the bow here, there are ways that you can use that bow up close, which is to special cancel it. Oh, look, it's a mid, but it whiffs under crouching opponents up close. So this tech is better used with the Shaman because it's a mid, right? So there's more danger, but you can still use it from time to time. In terms of variation 1, and we're going to look at some of his combos here. Let's first talk about the auto shimmy. So Nightwolf has an auto shimmy. An auto shimmy is a normal, like a standing one that looks exactly like a grab. This doesn't look exactly like this, obviously. This is just one hit. But under pressure, when things are going fast, when you see the arms extend, it's pretty much becomes what we consider an auto shimmy, especially this way, right? When his back is in front of the camera, because then it's hard to differentiate between this and this. And since he has 3 hits, it's perfect because in 3 hits they might let go of block on the first one, so you have 2 other hits to hit. 1, 2, 1, 2, this one, let's say they hit, then you can hit confirm. So it's a great auto shimmy. So I recommend when you have conditioned your opponent on wake up to constantly block. So let's say on wake up the whole round 1 you've been mediating with down 1 or down 3, whatever, or poke or something like that, or the mid, something that they have to respect, not a grab, not something that they can duck. They've conditioned to block, not poke on wake up, not do something for any reason. They've been conditioned to block on wake up because you've been mediating them with anything other than highs. What you can do, you can auto shimmy them, meaning that on wake up, when they wake up, you start with highs. Now this is usually not something you want to do, starting with highs, mediating with highs, because there's ways to counter this. But when they respect it, when they respect you, you can go ahead and meet you with highs. Why? Because it's an auto shimmy. This is going to open people up thinking that it's a grab. And I've done this several times against really good players. It does work with Nightwolf, so please try it and see how your opponent reacts. We're going to look at just one combo here with the Matoka warrior. He has this, down forward 2, the Rising Tomahawk, and then the Spirit of Kiba, which is a damage buff, but it's not good. I'll talk about it why. So this here, a launcher. Make sure that you practice with this one. Bring it to practice when you hit confirm the second hit. Make sure that your opponent is low at your waist pretty much. Let me show you. See how low the opponent was? Because if you do 1-1-1 fast, it just whiffed. Unless you're willing to go for other types of combos that are harder to drop but with less damage. Something like that, or... The reason why I end with down forward 2 instead of the more damaging back forward 4, this one has 80 damage, this one has 70 damage, is because this whiffs all the goddamn time when you're trying to end, when you're trying to use it as an ender. See? It's very easy to drop, so I don't recommend you actually end with this. This is a good reversal. That's where this variation comes in handy. If you're playing someone that requires a reversal to punish, for example, you're playing Noob Saibot, you still get the launcher in variation 2 because you don't have it in, in variation 1 because you don't have it in variation 2. So you get your launcher and you get a reversal punish. So variation 1 you would play when you want a reversal. So it's character specific. It's a little bit less strong than variation 3, but variation 3 has no reversal punish. So it's not complete trash, this variation. It's not useless, even though variation 3 is superior with the superior launcher and a superior projectile. I put this guy on get up. I just want to show you how ineffective the buff actually is. When he's going to get up, he's going to do 1-1-1, okay? So I'll combo him. Alright, it's safe if you end it like that. So if the opponent does his or her fast standing 1 after you set up the buff, they're not going to be able to punish you because it gives you enough distance depending on how you end it. But you lose your turn. So let me show you. Now I'm going to get Nightwolf to use a move that has a bit more range, and we'll test it out. Gets up. Alright. Punish. So it is punishable, unfortunately. Now, this buff, it's slow. Okay, 31 startup. Okay, look at the recovery. 36, so it's a second. It takes 1 second for this to be done. Sorry, not this, the original one. This one, to be done before you can block. A full second. In this game, that's slow as hell. Now, the second one is slow too, but when you amp, when you amp it, you get like shield a little bit. So, let's say I do this. You get shield for 1 hit. That's a problem. So let's see if you can punish me in a combo. Alright, he can't punish me in that case, but that's matchup specific. And to be absolutely sure that he can't get punished, you'd have to test it out with other characters. And my feeling is that there are characters with certain moves that will punish him. So it's not even worth it, in my opinion. How long does it last? It lasts about 8 seconds with amp. And 5 seconds without amp. So it's a weak buff, they really should buff it. No pun intended. I don't recommend you use it. Not very often at least. Don't let your opponent wake up attack on you. And know that if you use it, you lose your turn. Right? So that's the best that could happen, is that you'll simply lose your turn but not get punished after you use this. Because it's too slow. But if you have an opponent that is very respectful, does not wake up like that, not a maniac, you can set it up from time to time. Just be careful. And don't let your opponent get used to it. Don't let your opponent disrespect you and get up. We talked about whiffing issues in the corner. Let me show you why that still happens. Oh my god, did you see this? That is why this starter, this launcher is not the best. Because if you do forward 1-2, it whiffs. What if you do this? Alright, doesn't whiff with the overhead. It whiffs with 3-2. Oh my god. It won't whiff with 1-1-1 again. Alright, doesn't whiff with 1-1-1. Doesn't whiff with back 3-4. What if we do back 1-2? Back 1-3, I mean. Alright, it doesn't whiff, but it whiffs with a couple other moves where Shaman doesn't whiff, which is a very big problem online. If you can't, not online, it's just a very big problem for this character. If you can't do forward 1-2, which is his main starter. It's a mid. It's a problem. So that it's just a problem with this character with this variation. So this launcher is not the best launcher. Alright, Shaman. Let's try it now with Shaman. Oh, it launches. Did you see that? It launches. Launches properly. Still launches. Everything launches. Everything launches properly, and it's at the right distance for me to hit confirm. So very reliable launcher. That's why this move is superior. In Shaman, you can end multiple ways. The launcher becomes this. That's a low. It's unsafe. But minus 12. You can't punish it with a standing 1. So you'll have to punish it with a different move. Which is why you can abuse it from time to time, not always. From time to time to keep people on their toes. You can use it, just don't amp it on block, because if you amp it on block, it's a mid. Right? The non-amp is a low, the amp is a mid. And it's a mid that brings you a little bit closer, and it's minus 16, so you will get punished with a standing 1. There are mix-ups with this one. So, let's say I put the opponent on duck, and by the way guys, if you want to know if your character gels, if the moves gel, put your character on duck. On duck? On duck. Your AI on duck, right? So then you can test if you're not quick enough. Oh. If he's able to crouch before you attack, it doesn't gel properly. But if he's unable to crouch back, it gels. Alright. So we'll test if 2, if 3, 2, if 3, 1 gels. Whoop, doesn't look like it does. Alright, it does gel. That's what I thought. Alright, it does gel. Let's say it's on block. Oh my god, what a move. There's a mix up here. This one's an overhead. You can end with the low. Fuzzy guardable. This is fuzzy guardable because the ending overhead is 18. You see, 18. And this one is 26. It is fuzzy guardable. Meaning you block high, and then if you see the green stuff coming, then you block low. Talked about canceling the bow. This one is even better, because it knocks down and it's a mid. So, after you do 1-1-1, if you notice that your opponent takes his turn too quickly, you can go ahead and end like that, minus 21, but sometimes you get away with it again because of the spacing. And what I do usually, because I'm a safe player, I don't just YOLO it immediately. What I do is I cancel it, and then I see how fast my opponent interrupts. If he interrupts, as soon as I'm in the middle of it, interrupts, I know that he didn't react to this. What he did is, as soon as my turn was over, he just punched. So that's what I do is I do, and then I throw it out there. And when they get used to me mixing it up, and then they have to react to see when I cancel it, or if I don't, you know, it's a reaction of when this happens. And then if I use it, I see if my opponent respects it. Because after this, it should still be my turn, technically. Right, not based on frames, but based on how the human mind works. So what I do, if they interrupt it, then it's time to let it rip. But don't just let it rip immediately. Don't do that. Hold it a little bit. Like that. Let them see it's coming. And they think that you're going to cancel it, and you let it rip. And that's that tech. It's high risk, high reward, so use it and have fun with it. Oh, and sometimes I see people online getting caught by this here. This is, have you seen? It's all mid. And what some people do is this. This is not a mix-up. Meaning that when you get attacked by this, you block high the first hit, and you always block low the other hits. Always. I'm going to show you one combo or a few here. So you gel. That's the optimal. So it's 3-1. You do a micro dash. And you cancel your dash into the uppercut. So you have to dash a little bit. So try it. That's a lot of damage compared to out of range. $281, or if you just want to make sure you don't drop it, that's a good BNB as well, just much less damage. I recommend you go ahead and try that down 2, it's not hard. Alright folks, that's it for Nightwolf. I expect the Lightning Arrow and the Spirit Tracks to still be the most used special move when customs arrive. So learn Variation 3 Shaman might still be the most used variation anyways. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, comment. Follow me on Twitch. I stream on YouTube at the moment, but I'm going to shift to Twitch eventually when I get you guys on Twitch. I'm also on TikTok and Twitter. I post some Mortal Kombat videos, some little clips that are interesting, so go check me out on there as well. I also do matches, so if you like watching people fight, I post like 3 fights in a day. Alright, peace.